Welcome to Studio U 101, where we're going to talk about calendars start to finish. We are so glad to have you here. Again, you should be able to see my screen, hear my voice, and if that's not the case, please make sure you get connected in a way so that you can see everything, because we want you to be able to see that. This is Stacy Croninger, and I'll be running things tonight. We have Brooke, who's going to show you all the ins and outs of calendars, and Chelsea behind the scene answering questions for us. So if you have questions, make sure you type them in, and we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. But we're excited to have you here and hope that you're ready to learn some things about doing calendars, because these are great gifts, and they're also fun to have around your own home, and who can have too many calendars, right? So we're going to look first of all at what our August sale is, and the sale this month is on notepads and magnets. Our ad is showing notepads, but magnets are included in this as well. We have two sizes of each of those. So let me show you a couple of templates that maybe will get your interest in creating something and saving 10%. These are some ones that we've had for a few months, but they're good ones. So the first one is a set of 3x9, and you do get all 4 of these, and it's notepad games. It's a fun way to entertain the kids or even the grown-ups in meetings probably. And then these ones actually were added, I believe, last month by Brooke. She used the cute masks to create this monogram on each one of them. And this is a set of 5.5 by 8.5, and you again get 4 of those. You can create the same design across all 4, or you can have unique design on each of them like you're showing here. And there's quite a few templates in there for these various notepads, so take advantage of the sale and stock up on some notepads. These are, again, great gifts, nice things to have around your home and office whenever you need them. Let's look at magnets. Now, I'm just showing the 5x7 set. We do have a car magnet, which is 18 by 24, I believe, and it is strong enough to hang on your car. So if you want to advertise your business, that's a great thing to do. They also make great wall organizers for in your house. You can put it on your kitchen if you have one of the refrigerators that still holds a magnet. And there are several ideas for that as well. But these two happen to be 5x7s, and these come in a set of 4. The first one is this calendar one that's from 2016, but would be very easy to update, and we will show you how to update last year's calendars if you so desire. I'm just showing one design here, but there are 4 of them, and the difference is the bar at the top is a different color. Otherwise, they're identical. And then we have this one, I Like You, a bot by Brittany Hutchings, and you'll see how cute these are. You can put your children's pictures in them. There's even one that kind of works for a grown-up there. But it's using our cute collection that has all these fun robots and tinkers and things like that. So those are some ideas that you might want to give a try to for the sale that we have going on. Again, that goes until the end of August, midnight Mountain Time. You just need to have your order placed by then, and you'll save 10% on these. So let's dive in and talk about calendars. Now, as I mentioned, calendars really are a great way to give a gift. Everyone loves to see pictures of the family, especially grandparents, aunts and uncles that may not be around, and dads love to have them hanging up. So we're going to show you a few templates. Most of these are new, but I'm going to show you some highlights from last year as well. And I'm going to preface this with, none of these are in the template gallery yet. We have been frantically creating, and they will be in there anywhere from tomorrow to next week, so watch for those to come. So first of all, we have this one from Brooke, and she's created it in 2 different sizes. One is 12 by 18. It's a now and later, meaning that you tear it off right above the month, and then you have this fun 12 by 12 scrapbook page. The other size is 11 by 16. I'm just showing one of them here, but they're identical as far as layout and things. And the fun thing about this is that you can have a ton of pictures. How many of you are on Instagram and post your pictures on Instagram? So you have all those adorable square photos, or maybe you just take a ton of pictures and you want a quick and easy way to add them to a calendar. Well, this one's set up. Each of these little spots that say place photo here, you can drag and drop your photo onto that spot and it will drop into that place. You may need to size it a little bit, but you can do fun things with it. And I love that Brooke used black and white on these. They're actually color photos, but she used the filter to change them to black and white. So that allows those colors to kind of pop, but there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't just leave your photos in their colors too. So look for that one coming soon if you need a calendar that has lots of options for photos. Then we have this one that I created. It's a 12 by 18 now and later. And again, you'll see there's a dividing line right here that shows where you tear it off. And I did this more as a scrapbook layout style. And I will convert this to some other sizes so that they're available in some options. So we have the cover, and then January and February. You're seeing that there are a variety of different grids you can choose. So if I go back one to what Brooke had, here's one of the grids. And so there's several grids that you can choose from to kind of set up your calendars. So if you're looking for more of a scrapbook style, this may be an option for you. And then we have this one that Brooke also did, and it's a 12 by 18 now and later. Again, here's our tear line here. A different style grid. In this case, she's put the month up in the design and chosen one of the grids that just has the days of the week. And this one is more of a grid layout for the actual photos and background. And again, spots to place your photos. You can also use these places where you have the pattern papers to put photos if you want to have more options for that. It's a fun and playful design, and wow, that's a big mistake there. I put February in twice. I'm so sorry. There was supposed to be a March one showing here. But there will be a cover design for this in all the months, and they all kind of coordinate throughout the year. So that's a fun one for 12 by 18. If you're looking for a kind of a grid design on your layout portion. Now, up next we have desktop calendars. And I have to admit, I'm kind of a calendar junkie. I have my planner, I have a calendar I hang on my wall. I also have a desktop calendar, because can you ever have too many calendars? Each one serves a different purpose. And so, you know, if you think, oh, I only hang them on the wall, you might want to look at the desktop ones. Cassie Balser created this one for us, and she's designed this one and the next one I'm going to show you to coordinate with the school year. So these start in August and run through July, but the great thing is you can rearrange these very easily when you go to print them, so that they start at the calendar year of January. But each one of these has this fun quote put on chalkboard paper here. And the color of the grid coordinates again with the color that's in the quote. It's just a fun way to get inspired each day. And I believe she suggested that this would be a fun gift to give to a teacher to put on their desk. So I'm not sure how many of you have kids in school, and you might give a gift to the teacher to start the year off. This would be a fun thing to do for them. And again, it does start in August, which makes it ideal for that. This next one is also a desktop calendar, and it's designed for August through July, but this one is more for capturing things about your kids. So she's got all these cute little designs that coordinate with whatever the season is. August, I did skip September because we've just seen September, and because I thought this Halloween one was adorable. And then the November one, I wanted to point out, this is anthology DIY artwork. So we don't often see that pop up, so it's kind of fun to see some of the artwork from anthology come into these. I also like this because not only do you have the grid for your dates, but you have this great little spot that you can put notes on. Now keep in mind that these are on a slick paper, and so you may need to use a Sharpie when you write on them. A lot of times the ballpoint pens will smear or wipe off, but a Sharpie works wonderfully on these. So you have a place to put notes and room to write in information. And you'll even see that on this October one, we've included holidays on these, and you can see it on November too. So you'll find that there are US versions and Canada versions of all the calendar grids, so that you have the different sets of holidays on those as well. This next one is by Brooke, and it's also a desktop, and it's a real simple design that has lots of space for your calendar and a spot for one photo here on the side. Now you could easily break this into two squarish photos if you want to, or just one big one, but it's a fun way to have a bright and cheerful calendar on your desk. And there's actually, I believe, 6 designs that repeat twice. So July will have this same plaid on it, and August will have the stripe, and so it just flows so nicely. I love the patterns that Brooke chose on this particular calendar. Makes it really fun. I like it. Okay, now, because we didn't show some of the other sizes we have, I wanted to show you some of last year's highlights. These are some different sizes so you can see other options that are available. And one of the things that Brooke's going to show you is how you can take one of last year's templates and update it to use for 2017. So that's a good reason to look at past calendars. So you don't have to come up with a new design every year if you don't want to. You can easily swap out the ones that are there. So this one's the 2016 Family Holiday by Roxanne, and it's an 11 by 8.5, which means it's pretty much like a standard calendar. So it has your staples here in the middle, nothing separates. This is the top part of the calendar, this is the bottom part of the calendar, and lots of places for photos in this. It's such a cute design. Each month has designs that kind of follow the theme. So February had some Valentine's. March, I don't remember if it was Easter or if it's St. Patrick's Day, but you can adjust these however you would like. It's very easy to swap out the artwork, and as I mentioned, we'll show you how to swap out at least the grid if you want to keep the rest of the design. If you're looking for something a little more simple, then there's this one, the 2016 Bold Life by Roxanne. This one, again, is 11 by 8.5, and I love the simplicity of this, where it lets the photos really stand out. And so you're getting quite a few photos on each page. They have all the same layout, and what changes is the color in the background. So you keep the stripes, but also you can barely see it under each month. She included a quote, and that's kind of a fun way to get your inspiration each month. You could have each family member pick their favorite quote and put it in that month. You could actually have quotes from the family members, maybe their favorite joke or something, but that's a fun way to enhance a calendar as well, as to include, you know, some additional information on there. So that was our quick look at templates. So what we want to do now is turn it over to Brooke and let her show us some things in studio, and she's going to actually walk you through start to finish doing a calendar, as well as I mentioned, how to swap out a grid. And she will tell you this, and I'm going to tell you right now too, that we love having questions, so make sure and ask questions if you want to see something done again or something comes up. And Chelsea should have reminded me that I did not do the points giveaway for today. So let's do we're going to actually have to do 2 now because I missed the first one, and we usually do a middle one here too as well. So we're going to draw 2 people off of our list. And the first one that's getting points tonight is Angela Nestle. Angela Nestle, we're going to give you 25 publishing points to create a calendar or notepads or whatever your little heart desires, okay? And our second person is going to be Kathy Hibbler. Kathy Hibbler, you have also won 25 publishing points. And Helen's asking about when the sale is on the calendars. I will check and we will get back to you and let you know, because I don't remember off the top of my head when that was. Okay, so Brooke, are you ready, ma'am, to take over and show us all the fun things that can be done in our fun calendars?
I am ready. Just need
okay,
control.
I'm making you. Here you go. You're getting the control, ma'am. All yours. Everyone should be able to see her screen.
Okay. I can do things, not just my screen. Okay, we are good. All right. I always have to make sure because sometimes it's not very nice. Okay, so I wanted to show a few different things. And like Stacy said, first we're going to show just a little bit of how to do a calendar from start to finish. Obviously, we're not going to go through and customize every single page because that is 12 pages, and that is a lot of pictures and things. But just as an example, we'll do a couple of spreads really quick, and I'll show you some neat tricks. So if we go into the template gallery, the way to find the calendars, if you click Template Gallery, there is a pre-selected calendars tab here, but I believe there may have been a couple that got missed in here. So if you're ever wanting to find them a different way, do browse the gallery, and then they're over here under Photo Gifts. So if you drop down Photo Gifts, you'll see all the different calendar types are in here. So let's say we want to do just a regular 11.5 by 8.5 calendar. We click on the one we want and tell it we're ready to personalize. It'll take it a second. It's basically just creating the new project in your account. And then it'll pop up a little button here to open in Studio. Now, I have rather slow internet connection out at my house in the middle of nowhere, so it takes a second, but it's going. Okay, so I open it in Studio. And then this is just the template. You'll notice this is a 2016 template. We're at the point where we're going to want to start looking at 2017. The calendar grids for 2017 are in the art collection, but we do still have some 2016 and even a few older calendar templates because they're great templates, but they don't necessarily all get updated if the designer hasn't updated them or if we haven't released the new calendars yet. So it's good to know how to update an older template. Because this one, for example, it's a fun template. I have this one printed in my kitchen right now. I made this last year. So this one has a few pictures throughout. But if you'll notice, the grids are for 2016, which could be a bit of a problem if you're trying to keep track of 2017 dates. But really easy. I'm going to turn off the design guide here. If you haven't been in Studio much, or if you're in a new product type that you haven't created yet, you will want to read these just tips and tricks about what exactly you're seeing here in the design guide and just some tricks about designing. But if you have already read those, you can toggle that off with this design guide button. That way you can see a little bit more of the design space. So we're in here, and you'll notice with the 11 by 8.5 calendars, they're a traditional flip calendar. So you open it and you see both what you see here is page 1 and page 2. Page 2 is just below, and then there's this binding area, just a spiral binding holding them together. So you will see this and page 1 together, but you'll notice this one is designed with every other page as the calendar grid. So it's at the bottom of every page. And you could absolutely design it a little differently if you'd like. If you're designing something from scratch, have at it, be creative. But this one, for example, is this way. So if we click on the grid, you can see it selected. So the white background paper, you'll see is a little bit larger, but I can tell if I've selected the grid because it's just at the edge of the grid here. Now, I can right-click, and I should be able to open the collection that this was from, but all of these in here will be 2016 grids. So the best thing to do is just to go into the art collection and search 2017, or whatever year you're looking for. Now you'll see we've got these several different collections here of 2017 grids. There are two for each type. Let me explain a little bit better. So there are two different shapes that we have given. This is more of a standard shape for this type of calendar, and then we've made some that are a little bit slimmer, better for the desktop calendars. So you could absolutely use these on different types, but they work great on the desktop calendars and the now and later calendars. So you'll notice there's a regular and the slimmer version, and there are ones with United States holidays, Canadian holidays, and these ones over here are blank. And then there's this set that's just a bit more of a fun, different layout that also is great on the desktop calendar. So just a little more concise if you want more pictures or more of a design on the calendar. So we're going to do the blank. So you'll notice this one says 2017 blank calendar. I'm going to open it, and there are about, this one has two different designs in here. If you go in the, whoops, there's the calendar there at the top. I'm a little bit all over the place today, you guys. Bear with me. Okay, so if we've got the blank, You can open either of these and they will have different ones in there. The United States ones and the Canada ones will have holidays. These ones are just blank. So if you go on blank, so we've got a couple of different options to choose from in this shape. And you know what? This shape doesn't quite fit the design here. I could pull one of these up and stretch it and make it fit the bottom of this page, but it would be on top of my pictures down there. So let's go into the slimmer shape. And actually, I think one of these will fit perfectly in here. So I'm going to click our grid. We want to make sure we're grabbing the grid and not the paper behind it. And then notice it has a pink border, which means it's locked and ready to swap out. And I'm going to grab this one because I think it's almost the exact same shape. And I'm just going to drop it into this box here that says drop art here to swap. And it'll swap it in. And it looks like it's a pretty good fit. It might be just about perfect. So you're just going to go through, and you'll notice this set of grids, the slimmer, there are about 6 different designs in here. So you can see the different months, and they're just throughout here. They'll be together, so all of the Aprils are together, but you will have to go through and find the same design. So that was January, and then I would just go to page 4 and click my grid again. And February got bumped down below December, probably because of the numbering when we were uploading them. But just go through, and I like to change out the grids all first so that I don't accidentally forget to correct the dates, because nothing would be less fun about getting a calendar and realizing that the dates are all wrong on it. So that is my first priority when I am customizing a calendar. It's just going through and quickly changing out the dates. And you can see how quick it is. You just want to make sure that you've got the right months that you're putting in. So I'm just going to show a few months here. I won't make you guys sit through the whole thing. But if I just swap all those out, so there we have January through June. The calendar grids are all updated to 2017. And then this one, all you really need to do to update this, it's got these fun kind of journaling spots that you can write on once you get it. You could easily put a text box here and type something in, but I love having the spots to write things in as you go through the month. But really easy just to swap out the pictures. So if I go into my photos and just find some pictures here. Oh, looks like I don't have a lot in this account. I'm going to have some stock photos. There we go. We'll swap in some baseball pictures. So this one is designed with these cute little square frames so that you can just drop in perfect little Instagram photos or social media photos. Just great little snapshots. And there's some down here at the bottom. So really quick and easy. I'm just clicking. The photos are locked, and then I can just swap out the pictures. Okay? And then I click Save, and it'll update my thumbnails over here, just to be sure. And that's really all it takes to update that single 2-page spread of the calendar. Now, I want to make sure that I go here and I change our name. So let's say this is the Stinson family. And then these, the 2016, are actually alphabet numbers, so they are art pieces. So if I right-click and hit Open Collection, you can also go in the My Projects tab under Current Project and click the page that you're on. So this is the front cover, and then I've got all these pieces here. So I can click on that and click Open this collection. So I will just want to go down here and find the 7, and I'm going to swap it in place of the 6. You'll notice it doesn't quite fit perfectly. It's a little off because the 6 is shaped a little differently than the 7, so it's cropping the 7 a little tall. So I'm just going to remove the crop in the toolbox here, and I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. If I'm deciding I want to be a perfectionist, I'll go into the layout on one of these other ones and see the height. This is 1.99. I can click my 7 and type in 1.99, enter. and it'll make it the same height. And then all I'd have to do is either line it up visually, or if you've ever played around with the Align and Distribute tools, they are one of my favorite sets of tools in Studio, and I use them all the time because I like things perfectly aligned, especially when I'm doing grids. Photo grids are better when all of your spacing is exact. And that's just me. If you aren't as much of a perfectionist as me, don't worry about it. Make it what looks good to you. But
so
totally fun to listen to those tools.
While you're talking about, will you show how to do that?
Which?
Use the alignment tools. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if I have all these letters and numbers, a couple of them are locked, if I have them strewn all over the place, and I want them nice and aligned and evenly distributed, I'm just going to click the first one that I want them all to align to, and then hold down Shift and click the others. You'll notice since the 2 was locked, it's keeping all of these locked because I can't move the 2, and so I can't move any of these without moving the 2. So I have to unlock them. And then down here in the Align and Distribute, there's Align, Distribute, To, and Space. And there are tutorials in the Support Center if you're ever wanting to play around with these a little more in depth. But for this, so I clicked the 2 first. So I'm going to, under 2, I'm going to click To First Item. There's To Group, To First Item, and To Page. So in this case, I'm going to do To First Item, and then I'm going to Align Middle. You see the line going through, so it's telling it that I want to align along this plane right here, according to the first item I selected. So all I did was click To First Item and then Align Middle, and they all jumped into line next to where the middle of the 2 is. If they're different sizes, then it'll still align according to their middle. So they might still be a little taller, but it'll be even. For example, if my 7 was still a little larger and I jumped him into line, so I'm going to grab this 2 here and then grab my 7. It might help if I hold down Shift. So then I do To First Item and To Middle, and you'll notice it's still not the right height because it's taller than the others. So it still needs to be our 1.99. And then I can just put it in line. So, and then to distribute them, so same thing, I'm going to grab each of them. And this doesn't matter the order, because all you're going to do is under Space, I'm going to evenly space horizontally. And then it'll just jump the others out. It's basically taking into account the 2 and the 7 and spacing the 0 and 1 evenly in between them. So really quick and easy, and it makes them precise. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask because we have plenty of time tonight. Okay,
so far we're doing good.
Perfect. I'm just going to swap out the pictures here on the cover. And then let's say just for fun, so I'm going to open the collection that these papers are from. I love this collection. It's so fun. So if I want to swap out any of these papers, this is a fun corkboard paper, but you could absolutely swap it out and do something different, like a wood grain, or even a pattern, just something fun. And then same thing with what's currently this rainbow stripe. You can absolutely just change things out. So I'm just clicking. They're locked, so they have a pink border. And then all I'm doing is dragging something up and into that red drop art here to swap box. And then it just trades it out. So super easy to customize. Easy, simple layouts like this you can play around with and change the colors any way you want. And then you've got things like this banner has a fill color. If I wanted to grab a different color, I could. You can play around with it. So really fun to play around and customize.
Brooke, what's the name of that collection you're using right now?
This is something with a helper. I want to say it's My Little Helper. Yeah. It is Life's Little Helpers Bright Papers. And if you search helper. Oops, caps lock on. It's part of a 3-part set. So there's the papers that are really fun, and then these cute little labels in all kinds of different shapes, little tickets, banners, all kinds of fun things, and then these adorable journal cards. So everything except for the little random embellishments and these flags. Okay, and I guess the frames. But all the papers and all these little circle labels and journal cards are all from these 3. So really, really fun coordinating set. Lots of texture and colors. And this paper collection is rather large. There's solid textured papers and patterns. So lots of fun things in there.
Cool. Well, we had a couple people ask, so they are loving that collection.
That's one of my favorites. I haven't played with that one in a while, but I remember making this collection, and I love that set. Okay, so if we assume that we've gone through and updated all of our pages, so we've changed out the calendar grid, we've swapped out all our pictures, maybe if we want to change some papers around, but it's all completely done. What you're going to do, actually let's show something else first. I wanted to show, I know sometimes we don't get around to finishing our calendars right at the end of the year. Maybe we miss January, or some people I know prefer to design their calendars in the middle of the year. Whatever month that you end up on, let me show you guys how I got here. So you can click the Manage Pages here off to the right. And if I want to start with February, all I have to do is grab these 2 January pages and drag them down to the end. So I'm using a trackpad, so my movement is a little limited. But if I drag January down here to the end, then when I print it, when I order it, it's going to come with February 1st and go all the way down through the next January. So then all I would have to do is I would have to make sure that my January spread down here has the correct dates for the coming year, not the current year. So great thing to know of, but you do have to make sure that your dates stay accurate. Any questions on that? I know that's a little bit different of a concept than just designing a calendar.
So far, no questions on that. I'm watching. Anyone have a question on how to manage the pages? Because we do get a lot of people that start in the middle of the year, or like those ones that Cassie did where she starts it in August for the school year.
Yes, absolutely. And with that one, so for example, if you don't have school children and you want that same design to start in January, it'd be really easy to go into the Manage Pages and just rearrange your pages to start in January. So yeah, great helpful tool in Studio. Okay, well then we will just move on. So if we finish customizing all of our calendar and we are completely done and ready to order it, all you have to do is click Ready to Publish, and it's just saying here, just so you know, you are completing it on the next page, and if you have to make any changes, you'll have to make a copy. So it's making a final version of your project, and then if you go back and decide you need to make any changes, you can make a copy from your completed project and make any changes there. But this will be the final version of this project. So then it's just asking you to review each of the pages and make sure that you've checked it all, it's all accurate, it's all exactly how you want it to be, and then click Ready to Publish. Then it'll show up here in your completed projects. So you've got your view in progress. If I click this, it'll take me to all of my projects that I'm still currently working on, versus this is my completed project. Everything that I have said is completely finished and ready to order. So then I'm just going to, I can view it, and it'll open a separate little window to be able to flip through. I love the view on these 8.5 by 11 calendars because you can sit here and just flip the pages. I think it's fun. But you can sit here and preview. Now these are just thumbnail images. They're basically a picture of your project from inside Studio that your computer has saved. If for some reason a change was made and the thumbnail did not update and that change doesn't show here, that doesn't necessarily reflect whether the change was made to your project. I know that's a question that customer service gets a lot. So if you're ever concerned if something isn't showing quite right in here, all you have to do is make a copy. Just type in a completely different name, whether it's test or bulletin board version 2, something like that. Make a copy. The copy will go into your view in progress, and you can open it and make sure that it's correct. If that version is correct, then this version is correct, if that makes sense. I know that's something that customer service explains probably on a daily basis still, so good to know. So then from here, all I click is add to cart. With some projects, you will click add to cart and it'll pop up a window here with some options. With most of the calendars, it'll just pop up and say it's been added to your cart. And you can view shopping cart, or you can click the cart up here and it'll show you what's in here. Looks like I've still got something. But from here, you can, don't do that because I'm in the agent portal, so I'm as a customer service rep, ignore this. But you can change the quantity. If it's got any upgrade options like a different project, you can change that here. You can just make any changes and then you'll proceed to checkout. It's all pretty straightforward from there when you're ordering. So if we have any other questions on designing from a template, if not, I will go on to show a couple other things.
Nope, no, nothing about design from a template, but as you go through these next things, will you show how to add like birthdays or things like that in some of the grid squares?
Yes, that is the other thing I meant to show in there, but yes, I will. Okay, so I wanted to show, I started a blank 12 by 18 now and later calendar here because I wanted to show how fun and easy it is to import pages from a scrap page or from a storybook that you've designed into these now and later calendars, because they've got, there we go. I turned off the design guide, but again, you will want to make sure you read these. This one is unique because the design guide includes showing you this binding area, but when you toggle it off, you're only going to see the design space. So I'm going to leave it on for you guys just so that you can see where that is. So these now and later calendars are so much fun because when you're done with the calendar, you can tear off this bottom portion and the spiral binding, and you're left with just these 13 scrap pages. It's got a cover, so you do have 13 pages, so even the cover is left as a page, and you can put them in an album or however you would like. Lots of fun. I'm going to turn it off because it's making my computer do funny things. Okay, so if we have a scrap page or from a storybook that either we've already designed or it's in our templates, something we like in the template gallery, you can find it down here in the My Projects tab. So I added a scrap page to my favorites in Studio just a few minutes ago. I'm going to see if I can find it. You can search here by product type, or you can search by the name. I don't remember what the name was, but I know it was a 12 by 12 scrap page. There we go. Okay, so we've got this scrap page here. I'm going to click the page. If there are multiple pages in that project, they will all show here. This is a scrap page and only has one page, so it's just the one here. And then you can see all the different items that are on that page, and it's showing you in the order. So this very first item shown is layered at the back of the page. It's the background paper. These are other papers, and then all the way up to some text that is at the top of the page. So it is showing you the layering if you're ever wondering. If you're down here in your current project or in an older project, it'll show you what's at the back all the way up to what's the very first item. So if we have our scrap page here, I'm going to click Import Page. It's popping up a little window just letting you know that if there's anything already on the page, it will be replaced. So it's being completely deleted. There's no way to recover it. It's replacing whatever's on the page. So you do want to import onto a blank page or be absolutely positive that you don't want what you're replacing. And then click Yes, import this page. Now I want you guys to notice that was a 12 by 12 scrap page, and you see how perfectly it fits there. It's perfectly aligned. I don't have to adjust it or resize it. It's just exactly where I want it. You could easily import it onto an 8 by 8 scrap page or an 8x12 now and later calendar that has an 8x8 scrap page to tear away to. But onto a 12x12, it's exactly perfect. You don't need to adjust it. And then all I would have to do, you'll notice there's no bleed area down here at the bottom. This is accounting for the bleed area on a scrap page, just like here on the side. But because it just full bleeds down into the calendar area, it's kind of crossing over into that. So you may want to slide this up, or easier thing to do, just come into the art collections and find yourself a solid colored background paper that coordinates, or even just a solid fill color on a text box would do it. I'll show you guys that in a sec. And just align it to where you want it. I'm going to hold down Shift so that I can stretch this a little bit, just so it covers that full space. But that way you're not getting that bleeding down into the calendar area. So really easy just to do that. And then all we're going to do is come down here and get a calendar grid. Let's do one of these. So if we grab one of these calendar grids, I'm going to pop it up there, and you'll notice it just pops on. It doesn't fit it to the space. You do have to grab the edges and stretch it and then move it where you would like. But just kind of slide it around wherever you would like it. And I'm going to be the perfectionist here with my align and distribute again. And I'm going to do 2 page. So instead of to first item that we were doing before, this one is 2 page. And then I'm just going to align center so that it snaps it to the center of the page vertically. So that way it's nice and spaced, and easy as that, I have a calendar grid. Now, a good thing to know, if you're designing, do you have a question?
No, I was going to make a comment. Because I tend to click on too many things, once I get my grid positioned where I want, I lock it.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
then that way it doesn't move.
And then I was going to show one other thing kind of like that. So if you're designing from scratch, or you're doing something like this that didn't already have a grid in place, a great thing to do is to copy your grid and then go on to another blank page. You're going to do Edit, Paste Special, Paste in Place. And that pastes it in the exact same place. So in this case, it's the same spacing, it's nice and centered, it's exactly where I want it. Then I can lock it, and I can either do that on all the different pages, or I can go back into our Manage pages. I'm going to delete all these blank ones and then just duplicate several times this one here. That way, I have a calendar grid there. It's not the correct month, but it's laid out exactly where I want it, just like it would be in a template. And then I can go through, click it as it's locked, and just swap it out for the correct month. So a really easy way to give yourself a template layout for the calendar grid. And then you could still go through and drop scrap pages, as many as you would like on these different pages. So a really easy way to start from scratch, but use something you've already designed or customized as a scrap page and just put it in place there. Okay, and then we did want to show, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So if we go down here to our grid, I'm going to open my photos and find a picture here. I have no idea what pictures I've got in this account because I only use it for these classes. So we're just going to grab, let's do one of these hilarious attitude pictures of my niece. And we're going to crop it down into one of these squares. So we're going to pretend that her birthday is January 18th. So I'm going to align 2 of the edges to the calendar grid right there. And I do want to send it backwards a little bit. So these buttons here, you can send something all the way to the back, which sends it behind everything, or all the way to the front, or you can just go back or forward one at a time. So I'm just going to do right behind the grid here. And then I'm going to unlock the proportions here in the toolbox. So under Layout, and I just uncheck this Lock Proportions box. And then I can grab this bottom corner and just size it up to be the size of that box. You'll notice she's kind of squished, so I'm going to lock the image and then go back into my photos, grab the picture again, and swap it out. And then it'll swap it in and crop it to the shape and size that I want. If I want to move her around a little bit, I just go in the toolbox under Adjust. I'm going to zoom it in just a tiny bit and slide it down so I'm seeing her face. And then I clicked out of it. You can also click Done. And then Save, and you'll notice now her picture is right on that box. So really easy way to mark birthdays or maybe a wedding picture for an anniversary, but super easy to just put it exactly in the date that you would like. And then you can also do the same thing with text, very simply. I'm just going to drag up a text box from the Content Explorer down here and type in, let's say this is Jane and John's anniversary. Now, I've got my little text box. I hit return on my keyboard so the anniversary came down. You don't have to do that. If you took the size in like this, it would take it down. But I just tabbed it down so that I didn't have to worry about where my box was at. And then you can give it any font you want. If I want it maybe a typewriter font, make it a little smaller so it fits in the box. And then you can just sit it exactly where you want it. Really easy. You could also go into the art collection here and find, say, if I want to find a little cake for a birthday or something, like these cute little cupcakes. And you could put a cupcake on a date for a birthday and put someone's name, or special dates like back to school. Just really easy and fun to customize your calendar to have the dates that you already know will be in there. So do we have any questions about that while we're in here?
Yes, so someone brought up the question about seeing the numbers through the photos, which you can, but can you change that grid to white real quick so that it's easier to see that that number really is showing?
Yes, I can. So if I click the entire grid here, I can go into the toolbox under Layout, or under Effects, excuse me, and here under Fill Color, if I want to give it, for example, a white fill color. So now you can kind of see the letter in here. It will be clearer when you print it. Please know that. The letters here on the grid you can see are a little bit blurry, but they will be clear when you print them, just as long as you follow the cardinal rule in Studio, which is the color of your borders. So this is true with your pictures, with your art pieces, your background papers. So you'll notice the border is green here. If I stretch, it goes into yellow and then orange and then eventually red. So anywhere here in the green, it will be crystal clear when you print it. Same is true with pictures, as long as your picture was clear to begin with. But here in Studio, because it's a low resolution preview of your project, if it wasn't low resolution, it would take forever to load because it's online. But it's low resolution, so it shows blurry, but this will be clear through here. A fun thing to do if you have a picture, so I can grab the calendar grid here and copy, and then use our trick to edit, paste special, paste in place, and then I'm going to crop this down. So I'm just going to hit crop inside the tools, and then this blue border is showing me where I'm cropping to. I'm going to grab just the numbers in here, okay, and then click Done, and then I'm going to give that the white fill color. So that way you can't see it, but I don't think the blurry numbers are throwing me off here. Hang on, we're going to do that again real quick. Paste special, paste in place, and then I'm going to give it a white fill color. Yep, it's just doing funny things because it's blurry. So crop, crop it down to grab just the text. I don't want the border surrounding the picture, although you could do that too. And that way when it prints, I know it looks very blurry there, but when it prints, the numbers will be white on top of the picture, so they'll be easier to see. So that's a fun trick to change the color of just the number in the grid if you want to see it a little better.
So you could change it to red or hot pink or anything like that that you want to call out. Yeah, exactly. Cool. That was all the questions related to this. I have questions for other things when you get to a spot that has multiple items. Well, I think we can be there. What are the questions? So people want to see how to align like the numbers, you know, you did the vertical alignment with the numbers. Okay. They'd like to see that again. And there was something else. Oh, show how you did the, I think though you just did the copy and paste in place idea. So that one was good. Okay. See if any others come through. I'll show with an alphabet here really quick. Lovely. Okay, so let's say we want to spell out book. So I grab all my letters and I just throw them out here. And they are all over the place. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see. So if we want these larger or smaller or however, what I'm going to do is align them first, and then I can change the size of them as a group and position them how I want. So what I like to do is kind of eyeball a little bit so that I get about how close I want them to be. And you'll notice they're not perfectly aligned, they're not perfectly spaced, but they're close. I know that's about how close I want them together. So I'm going to click the B and then hold down Shift on my keyboard and click the other three letters. And then down here under Align and Distribute, I'm going to do to first item and then Align Middle. And you can see they are going to jump. Oh, except that they're not because these aren't all the same height. So we're going to do this real quick. So this one is 1.47 high. And you do get this sometimes with alphabet art pieces because some of them, this one is a little more blocky, but some are designed with the O, the curve of the O or the S or ascenders or descenders in the letters that aren't quite the same height as, for example, something like a B or a K that's flat on the top. So you do get that sometimes. Personally, I like them generally the same height. So I just made all of these. I'm going to make these O's the 1.47 and just hit enter. And you could leave it with them being slightly taller, and that's fine. But just for simplicity's sake, we're going to make them all the same height. So you can see if you look close that the O's are just a little higher than the B and the K right now. So again, to first item, and then align middle, and watch them jump right here. So you can see them jump just a little bit. And then the spacing here is not perfect. So all I have to do is under space, I'm going to space evenly horizontally. And then they'll jump apart. That way this space between each of the letters is even. So really easy just to do that. And then if I decided that I wanted them a little closer together, all I'd have to do is slide one of the ends over. And I can even drag select this way as long as I'm not doing to first item, and then just respace. I hope I didn't jump all over the place too much on that one. No, I think you were good. No one else has said anything about that. But we do have a question. Which is the button for aligning to page versus aligning to group or first item? Will you point that out? I can. And if you're ever wondering about any of these, all you have to do is hover over them, and it will pop up a little message here that tells you what it is. So under to, we have to group, to first item, and to page. To page is the big white square. You can think of it like the big white design space on a blank page here in Studio. So if we've got this nice blank page here, it's a white square for a page.
To first item is a gray square because it's like you have something selected. If you look close, it's got these little squares on the corners, like a selected item. And then to group, it's got a couple of things selected here, and then those little selection boxes on the corners. Hope that makes it a little easier.
Covered that beautifully. And okay, so good question, Sally's asking. So is the page the blank part of the template, or is it the entire calendar page? So like the top part where this is a now and later, the top part of it, or is it the entire calendar page? Does that make sense, including the pair off?
That is an excellent question and great to show with this type of a product. It is the entire designable area. So it does take into account this calendar space down here. So it makes it a little bit more complicated because if I select something and I tell it I want to align it to page and then tell it middle and center, you'll see it's including the calendar area down here. But one easy way to circumvent that, personally, that I do, so if you come down here in the art collection and you find just a square piece of background paper, and I can make it exactly 12 inches. So you'll see it's 12 inches high and 12 inches wide. I'm going to move it to the back here so that it's behind everything. All I have to do is go to page and align it to the top and the middle. And then that scrap page is exactly the 12 by 12 area here that you would be designing for a scrap page. So then instead of doing align to page on that one, I would grab one of these. I'd grab the scrap page and then grab one of these letters that I want to align, and I'd do to first item, align middle, align center, and it'll pop it to the middle of the scrap page area. So if you've got a background paper, that'll be the easiest trick to do it.
And is it taking into account the printing area or the, so you know how we have the little, the bleed area. Is it doing out to the gray area, or is it doing the bleed area? What portion of that is, because on this one it's actually even all the way around, but sometimes like in a storybook, you're ending up with a little bit different of a printable area.
That is an excellent question. It takes into account the outside edge of the gray bleed area. So if it has a bleed area, let's open something that has a little bit different of a shape. And then we can show that. Actually, the desktop calendar is a good thing to show that because at the top, it does have the spiral binding area, but it is a designable area. The now and later calendar, this portion right here is white at the binding. The scrap page area ends where the tearaway portion is. So this has the designable area here, but you'll notice that the bleed area is a little bit wider here with the spiral binding. So if I were to grab something like this white paper here, and I want to align it to the center of the page, so I'll do to page and then align middle, you'll notice it's taking into account all the way up to the outside of the bleed area. It's not the inside of the bleed area. This here is uneven. So it does take into account all the way to the edge of the bleed area, which can sometimes be not perfect for the designable area, but that's what it's taking into account. And it does that so that if you, so for example, with this background paper, if I were centering it just to the designable area, it might not come all the way up through the bleed area, depending on the size. This has a lot of spare area out there, but because it takes into account the bleed area up here, it makes sure that you are fully covering all of your bleed space so that you don't have any white edges.
So the key here is that if you're doing this with a background paper like you've done here, is to make sure that that background paper is centered on your project, and then you can use it to align other things because it's going to be centered on that paper, regardless of where your bleed areas are.
Yes and no. I think I'm understanding you correctly.
Yeah, no.
So this,
yep.
So if I were to align and distribute, if I were to align to this paper, it'd be the same as the bleed area. But
right.
For example, this grid here that I've got, if I want this background paper behind it exactly, I can't do them both. I could do them both to page, but neither of them would be centered correctly. But if I center one of them, like I've got the grid, I can select it first and then select my background paper and then do to first item, align middle, align center, and it'll jump exactly behind my little grid, as long as they're the same size.
Perfect. Okay, yep, that covered it. And I'm not seeing any additional questions at this point.
Perfect timing.
Yes, perfect timing. So I'm going to take back control. Brooke, those were some wonderful tips. Thank you so much for sharing all that information, because I know that people are going to love making their calendars with those ideas. Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up with a couple of last-minute things. The first thing is we're going to look at artwork that's coming soon to studio. This will be available in September, so on September 1st. This first one is a basic collection, Trick or Treat. Actually, it's called Got Candy, but it's going to be great for trick-or-treating. It has some fun elements in it, lots of papers. You'll see this spider web is one of the papers. I love this fun frame. I mean, yes, it's for Halloween, but it would really look cool for other times of year as well. It's got lots of different candy things, like these flare with the candy corn. It's got some actual candy pieces. So, and the alphabet is kind of a metallic look to it. So that's a fun alphabet in that set. So you'll see there's lots and lots of stuff in this, all Halloween related. This kit, I think, is probably my favorite. And this is a premiere one. It's all year round jubilations. And the whole reason I love this is because of all these dadgum cute woodland critters. Look at that fox. Could that fox be any cuter? I don't think so. And there's a hedgehog, there's an owl, and I've just shown the owl and the raccoon on other things, but they are actually cutouts as well by themselves. And then it has this beautiful wood alphabet, and I've mentioned in the past, I kind of have a thing for ampersands, so thought that was kind of beautiful. Lots of really fun pocket cards, journal cards with sayings and plenty of room to journal on if you want. Some fun papers. There's pattern papers as well as solids. And then I love this little wood chip that there's 3 of them, I believe. One has an acorn, one has, I want to say a pumpkin, and I can't remember what the other thing. Anyways, this kit jam-packed with some fun things. And again, if nothing else, the fox is going to just, he's going to have to land on something I create. That there's just no two ways about that. So watch for the fox to show up in some project somewhere. So that's coming again September 1st. Our next class will be on September 15th at 7 p.m. and we're going to do tips and tricks. So we did a survey a few months ago and people submitted tips and tricks that they would like to see. We're also going to talk to our customer service and see what kinds of tips and tricks people ask about there. If you have something that you've always wanted to know about, feel free to contact us on Facebook, in the Longevity Memory Keeping group, or on the Heritage Makers and Our Memories for Life page, or you're welcome to email me at scroninger@heritagemakers.com. We'd love to hear if there's something that you would like to see, but we're going to cover tips and tricks and hopefully give you all sorts of fun things that you can do for creating your projects. So we hope that you've had a wonderful time, and we will see you September 15th, if not before then, around the internet on social media. Have a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks, bye.